You've seen a funeral. The flowers, the black clothes, the silence. Someone says something kind about the person who's gone. People cry. Then everyone goes home. That ritual felt ancient to you, like something humans have always done. You were right. But what humans actually did when someone died, for the first 200,000 years of our existence, looks nothing like what you're picturing.
In 1908, miners in southwestern France broke through the ceiling of a cave by accident. Inside was a skeleton, not scattered, not abandoned, deliberately arranged, knees pulled toward the chest, a wild boar jaw placed near the hand, animal bones carefully positioned around the body. 50,000 years old. This wasn't someone who fell and was left behind. This was a burial. Someone chose to do this. Someone grieved. That changes everything we thought we knew about early humans. For a long time, scientists assumed grief was a modern invention, something that came with language, with religion, with civilization. The evidence says otherwise. Neanderthals, a species most people still picture as primitive brutes, were burying their dead at least 60,000 years ago. At Shanidar Cave in Iraq, archaeologists found a Neanderthal skeleton surrounded by dense clusters of pollen. So much pollen that researchers initially concluded flowers had been placed on the body. The idea was debated for decades, but what's not debated is this. The body was not abandoned. It was placed. It was treated as something that mattered. And that instinct, to treat the dead as if they still matter, is one of the most distinctly human things we've ever found evidence of. But here's what made ancient death completely different from anything you've experienced. They couldn't leave. Today, when someone dies, the body is taken away within hours. Professionals handle it. You mourn from a distance, in a different room, eventually in a different city. Ancient humans had no such separation. The person who died was someone they had eaten with, slept near, hunted beside for their entire life. And now that person was still there, still in the camp, still present. Anthropologists studying modern hunter-gatherer groups document something that would be unthinkable in a modern hospital. The living stay with the dead. They sit beside them. They talk to them. They hold them. Grief in those communities is not private and internal. It is loud, physical, communal. Everyone participates. No one is excused from it. In some groups, the body is kept in camp for several days before burial. Not out of neglect, out of refusal to let go quickly. The transition from living to dead was not treated as a single moment. It was a process, and the living were part of that process. The things buried with the dead tell us something even more striking. At Sungir, Russia, archaeologists found 2 children buried together roughly 34,000 years ago, covered in over 10,000 mammoth ivory beads, each bead hand-carved. Researchers estimated it would take 45 minutes to produce a single bead. That's 7,500 hours of work buried in the ground with 2 children. Someone spent months, possibly years, making those beads, then chose to bury all of it. Not to keep it, not to pass it down, to send it with them. That's not practicality. That's love, expressed in the only language available. And then there are the red ochre burials. Across Europe, Africa, and Asia, archaeologists find ancient skeletons stained deep red. Ochre, a natural iron-rich pigment, deliberately painted onto bodies before burial. It required effort to source, to grind, to apply. Researchers believe it held symbolic meaning: blood, life, protection in whatever came next. We don't know exactly what ancient humans believed about death, but we know they believed something. They weren't just disposing of a body. They were sending someone, somewhere. Here's what that means. For 99% of human history, death was not a medical event managed by strangers. It was a communal rupture, something the entire group felt and processed together, out loud, in contact with the actual body, with days of presence, not hours of distance. Modern grief looks nothing like this. You're expected to cry privately, recover quickly, and return to work within a week. Your ancestors would not have recognized that as grief at all. They would have sat with the dead, painted their bodies, carved 10,000 beads to bury in the ground, told stories about them around the fire for months. We didn't invent love when we built cities. We didn't invent grief when we developed language. We were doing both long before any of that. in caves with pigment and carved bone and flowers placed on bodies in the dark. The only thing that changed is that somewhere along the way, we started grieving alone.